Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to AK Academy. Ahmed Muzaffar here with you today. We are in the session number 3, basically in developing the dotNet Labs project, and we are in the part number 11 from the full project after we built the API in the first, or in the first 8 sessions. And right now we have get started about 2 sessions ago to start develop the client side with the Blazor WebAssembly and Microsoft Fluent UI. The Blazor Fluent UI library. So, hey, hi Sebastian, hi Stefan. Thanks for joining, guys. And in the first session, we have implemented the infrastructure of the project, like the HTTP client, to send the requests basically back to the API securely. And then we have implemented the authentication stuff, like the local authentication state provider. So that's basically based on the access token. And in the previous session, we have implemented the login page. And with the login page, we have set up our first tools in Microsoft Fluent UI or the Blazor Fluent UI library. And right now, what we have to do in this session is basically just to take care of a little bit of stuff of the login page, and then we will implement the register page. And we're going to have this flow, and then we will see how we are going to get started with fetching the videos and showing them in the UI. And I think this is going to let us to create some new components. So thanks for joining, everyone. So right now, I think I can share my screen and get started. So okay, great. So basically, after the previous session, I'm going to run the project and see what we have implemented. We had a login page that was working perfectly, this is the Razor one. So here, if I go to /auth/login, okay, so you can see that we have implemented this page here, and it was just working very fine. dotnetlabs.com, test.123. If I click on login, you can see there is a spinner here, and if I don't get an error, so this means that, okay, everything is just working very fine. So right now, what I want to do is we need to implement the register page. And before that, we need to redirect the user back to the home page after the login process. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we need basically to redirect to implement the redirection from page to another is to inject the navigation manager service. So this one allows the navigation in your application. So here, what I'm going to do is, after that, I'm going to say navigation manager. This is better. So dot navigate to go just to slash, which is the root or the home page. So this is right now, after the user logs in successfully, it's going to be redirected to the login page. But there is also one thing we need to add before moving from this page, which is basically if the user is already logged in and he's going and the user tries to access the /auth/login, what we should do in this case. And basically, what we have to do is just to redirect the user back to the home page because you are already logged in. So to implement that, what we have to do is I'm going to override the oninitialized async. So I'll type protected async override task oninitialized async, like that. And I'm going to type var auth state equal the wait authentication auth state provider dot get authentication state, like that. So here I have the user, and from this user object, I can check if the user is logged in or not. So I can type like that if auth state dot user dot identity dot is authenticated, and then I'm going to have navigation manager dot navigate to the home page. So when the user is logged in this case, just take the user back to the home page so he cannot access this page. So let's try to see this in action right now. Okay. So right now I'm in the home page. If I try to go to /auth/login and hit enter, as you can see, I will be redirected back to the home page, which basically makes sense because the user is already logged in, so he couldn't access this page. So right now, before we move to register, maybe we can also implement logout so we have the full scenario. So let's go ahead and start implementing this function. So to implement the logout, I will go to our local authentication state provider, the one that we have here. It's of type, it inherits from authentication state provider, but it's of type local authentication state. So I'm going to create my own function. This one is basically existing in the base type, but right now I will create my own called async task logout async. So what the logout process is all about, it's very simple. What we are going to do is just go to the storage and remove the access token from there, and then call the notify authentication state changed. So in this case, all the components get notified, and then the user exists right now in the user object will be just empty. We're gonna return an empty one. So in this case, this is all about the logout process. So simply, we can say await storage service dot remove item async, and this item is a string key, the key called access token, like that. So then after we remove the key, we can just say notify authentication state changed. We should return task dot from result new authentication state new claims principal without any authentication scheme or without any claims. So this means this user somehow not exists or doesn't have any identities. So this is, in this case, this is basically the logout process. Right now, let's try to call this function from our logout button that we have in the shared. If I go to the main layout, so you can find here that I already have a button. Okay. Yeah, it's here. This one who checks if the user is authorized, then show this button with the logout process. So right now, we will go to the on-click handler, but this one should be, I'll make it async. Wait. So okay, so this is, if you remember from the previous session when we implemented the shared layout, then we have this menu property that basically represents the menu, the logout button after the account button. So when you click on this one had a key and text, and it has an icon name. I don't think we are using the icon, or yeah, we are using it. So we need to replace it with a user. I'm just going to go to Microsoft Fluent page and just bring an icon from there. But for now, we should add a handler to the on-click equals. So this one, I'm going to make call for the function like async. Yeah, sorry for that. It takes a action. Okay, so here I'll type private void logout async task. Sorry for that. Logout, and it takes item clicked args. If we check the E, it contains the key that has been clicked in the menu. So in case you have multiple items in the menu, then you can assign all the items to the same handler. But from this E, you can define what the operation you are going to do using this key. But for now, because we have only a logout, so we are just going to call the logout process. Great. Now I'm going to the top and inject authentication state provider. Now we have auth state provider. Okay, great. So here, if we type auth state provider, we are not going to see the logout function because basically this one is an instance of authentication state provider, which is the base class. But our function is existing in the child that's called local authentication state provider. So what we have to do is convert this one to local auth state provider, local auth state provider equals local auth provider to the one that we have injected, and then I'm gonna call local auth state provider dot logout async. So right now the user has been logged out, and then the notify process happened. What I can do is redirect the user back to the login page. So to do that, we also need to inject a navigation manager. And here, navigation manager dot navigate to /auth/login. Okay, right now I have this function. What I can do is set it to onClick. So I'll type logout. Logout. First, I'm gonna call it logout async. And okay, for you to see it better, I think it's better to make it like that. So the onClick, as you can see, it's action that takes the item clicked args argument. So what I do is I'll make async, call a lambda expression. This is the argument, and await logout async. Then I will pass the E for this function, just like that. So this is cool. Right now, this is the menu item that's associated to the logout button. And what can I do right now is go to this one. And I think, yeah, we need to remove this because we have set it. We'll go back to this one later on. So right now, let's try our logout functionality. How's it working? So here we have a question. I'm new to Blazor, currently doing most of my work with Angular. What do you guys prefer? Yeah, personally, if you ask me, basically, of course, I prefer Blazor. I have just do some few things with Angular JS, but basically, as a .NET guy, I prefer to work with Blazor and not with JS libraries. I use JS a little bit with the Blazor, but I think Blazor is more flexible for me, and it's growing very fast. So hopefully, all the futures for it. So this is the logout button. If we click that, and wow, look at that. Right now, we have been redirected to this page. And the great thing is that we all already logged out, and the identity of the user basically has been removed because this page, if the user is logged in, it will be directed back to the home page. So right now, the access token has been removed. If we go to the developer tools by pressing F12, and we go to the application, local storage, here you can see there is no access token anymore. And if we try to log in, dotnetlabs.com, test.123, let's click login. So look at that. We have been redirected back to the home page. The access token is here. And if we try to go to the auth/login. Okay, that's great. We'll be redirected back to the home page. So right now, the flow of login and logout is just working perfectly. I hope you get the point of this, and there is like everything is clear and nothing unclear or something like that. So if you have any question about this, please feel free to ask them before we proceed with the register page. Hey, Lucas, how are you? So here in the chat, we see some cool countries, basically. Wow, this is nice. So people are watching from everywhere. Thanks, guys, for joining. So do you store the token in the local storage or in the session? No, basically here you don't have session because the Blazor WebAssembly app is just working totally in the client side. And usually in the single page applications, you don't have session because the API is stateless, which means the API doesn't know anything about the current session, like not like the traditional web app when the server knows about like, okay, there is a client right now connected from this browser and there is a session for him and on the server. This one is not the case here, either here or in the mobile apps or on this stuff, because in the API, like each request is totally isolated from the other one. So we put the token in the local storage, and then we assign it in the header of each request. This is the mechanism that basically OAuth works on top of by reading the access token or the JWT authentication. Sorry, if you haven't watched the previous two sessions, you can go ahead with that when we initialized all the stuff on the infrastructure of the login. But yeah, for the question, it's stored in the local storage. Okay, so right now I think we can move ahead and deal with the register. So I will go to Pages, Auth, and I will create a new Razor component. I will call this component Register. So the new users of the system will be able to get into this one and to create new accounts. So page, first let's give it a router, and it's going to be auth/register. That's simple. And right now let's inject some of the stuff like HTTP client, and then we need to inject navigation manager. And yeah, that's it. So after the user creates a new account, we are going to redirect him to the login page. So, okay, this is great. Now, right now we are going to, in the login page, we started it with it like straightforward. Right now we will have like doing a little bit with the layout with the Blazor Fluent UI. So one of the layout component that we have called Blazor Fluent UI stack. So stack allows you to put the items on top of each other or beside each other. Basically, stack is very common if you are a Windows developer doing some WPF stuff or XAML in general, either a WPF, UWP, or Xamarin. So you know the stack layout very well, how you can put the things like horizontally or vertically. So right now we have the same component, PFU stack, and I'm gonna set it here, and then I will add a title. Welcome to dotNet Labs. Sorry, let's write it like this. Create your account, your new account. Just filling the form. Okay, I hope it's a good message. It looks like somehow. Okay, great. So right now, I will go to the shared project that has all the libraries here, and we will have, okay, we have a register request, as you can see, and it has basically those, like first name, last name, email, password, and confirm password. That's a pretty simple object. So I'll go here and create an instance of that object, private register request, model equals new one. that. So this is the object that will be, we will bind it to the form. And right now I'm going to create an edit form. So this form, the model, this one, on valid submit, register, user async. We are going to create this function in just a bit. Okay, this is great. Now I will create this function here, async task, register, user async. Okay, great. So we have set up this form. That's cool. Now we can go to the login page and just copy those. So go back to register. Okay, but first I think we need to add the first name, the last name. So this one is the first name, and it's going to be, the value will be bound to the first name of the model. This one is the last name. Again, it will be bound to the last name of the model. This is the email. We'll say for the email, and for the password, we'll copy this, and we'll call this one confirm password. Input type password, and yeah, so, but it's going to be bound to confirm password. This is just great. Now we can add a button and the spinner to, let's create a private pool is busy indicator here. So we are going to use this to show a spinner. If is busy, and we are going to show that spinner. I'm going to bring it from this page. It is basically here. Sorry, we already have. Okay, I can copy it like this. So just pfu spinner. We set the size, and it's just going to run. We can make it a little simple. And right now, okay, this is great. We need the button. Okay, I love copy and paste. This is why we just suffer in creating the first component, and then things started to go very quickly. So I'm going to copy the bottom with this message bar that basically shows a message. Okay, if I go to the register, like that. So I will call this button register. And it will be disabled when it's busy, so the user cannot click multiple times on register while the user is being created. And I will create a private field here, show the wrong message in case there is any. Okay, cool. So in case this message is not null or empty, then okay, show an error message bar and print the message within it. So this is cool. Now, simply, I'm going to add a try catch here. We'll add the exception. Type this exception or print it to the console. And for the message, I'm going to print something went wrong. Please try again later, maybe. Like that. And for here, what's going to happen is basically we need to take this object and push it to the endpoint. Okay, I'm going to open up that page. We are going to the Swagger page of our API. So wow, it's taking time because maybe the application is in the sleep mode or the server. Okay, here we go. So this is the register page, and as you can see, it just takes this object and it returns for us a simple just operation response of type string. If you go to the scheme here, you can see we have the operation response that contains this success message and data. And then after that, so yeah, it's just that simple. So I'm going to type var response equal the wait HTTP client dot send async. Sorry, post as JSON async. Post as JSON async, it's going to take the object, translate, convert it into, or serialize it as a JSON content, and then push it to the server. So here we need the URL. So the URL of this, as you can see here, it is simply as the base address /API/authentication/register. So /API/authentication/register. And the object I want to push is the model. So basically, this is it. It's pretty simple. Right now, the object will go to the server, and in the response, as you have seen here, we are going to there's two possibilities. Either we get 200 or 400. For the 200 and 400, they are exactly the same object. The only difference is in the 400, this one will be the SX is going to be false, and we will see within it the message that why this request failed. So in both cases, I'm going to say var result equals the await response dot content. So the content, as I said, contains operation response. So get or read from JSON async. What is the type of the content? It's of type operation response. Type string. And that's it. So if you check the result right now, we have the data, SXS, and message. The data is basically a symbol string. So we will check if response dot is success status code. This means if the response comes with the status code 200, then in this case the user has been created successfully, and what we have to do is to navigate the user to the login page /auth/login, and in case it failed, simply what we want to do is to show message equals result dot data. That contains the string represents what happened. So this is great. The last thing that we have to do is busy equals true, and here is busy equals false to indicate that right now the server is busy. Okay, this is cool. Now what we have, register user async. Yeah, but we have created this register. Okay, I must type this one. This. Okay, so look at that. Right now we have this UI ready. I am going to go to the main layout. And in this page, you can see if it's authorized. As you can see, the name will be seen and the logout button. But if it's not authorized, right now we have this login button. But what I'm going to do, basically, I will copy this split button that has a menu, and I will paste it here instead of this one. So I will type here login or register account menu properties. We have to create a new menu that contains also this one called go to register. Like that. So let me scroll down. For this one, we have this menu properties, and we are going to create a new one called account menu properties. So the account menu properties contain a new list of Blazor Fluent UI on the actual menu here. Okay, great. And we will add a menu item. So this menu item is the key is, sorry for that. Menu items, just like that. And this one, menu item. Okay. So right now we have key. This key is called go to register. And the text is register. Oh, sorry. The main button contains register, but the menu item will be login, and the text will be login. And on a click, and async, there is no need for async. Navigation manager dot navigate to /auth /login. Yeah, that's good. Okay, great. So now we have the account menu properties that basically on a click just navigate the user back to the auth/login. And here, okay, I'm gonna just change this one and make it directly here. Navigation.navigate to /auth /register. Okay. So in case it's not authorized, we are going to see this page or a register button that has a menu. In the split, when you click on the menu or expand, you are going to see a login button. This has been defined in the menu properties. And when we click on this button, we'll go to the register page. And when we click on that button, we will go to the login page. So let's go ahead, start this to see what we have. And meanwhile, let's see. Okay, guys, for the discussion you're right now talking about the Blazor and the future of Blazor regarding and the GS. Basically, GS has been used for a long time. It's not only about time; it's because the web has been built on top of GS, or let's say the browser, the client side part. So it has been built on top of GS, and throughout the years, people try to figure out a way, and the developers, and they come up with TypeScript and this stuff. And then the new standards of JavaScript became like popular. Then frameworks like Angular and React, they did a very great job. But what Blazor has a very big advantage is that you are just running a powerful language like C# OOP language in your browser. And I think you WebAssembly allows you also to run C++ and other stuff. But the version that Microsoft is working on is to run the .NET languages in the browser. This is very great. This is number one. Number two, and the great thing about that is that C# right now is running across all the devices on your Android, on your Xamarin, on your Windows 10, maybe IoTs. So using Blazor is a very big advantage because you simply share a big amount of code and the client-side logic of your app. And I simply did that myself. Like at the end of the previous year, I have developed an app. It was a client-side web app or a web application with Android and iOS app. So all the client-side logic, I put it in one project called .shared, and I was able to share that logic with the Xamarin, iOS, Android, and Blazor app. So that was wow, because I've saved a lot of time. And in addition to this, I'm still within Visual Studio. I'm still developing on my Windows device, and I'm still writing the same code. I'm using the same libraries. I'm using the same APIs. So this is what I like about Blazor. Like, that's so great. And I think it's going to be a future because Microsoft is building on top of it. There's going to be Blazor mobile binding, and there is going to be it's open source. This is the difference between Blazor and Silverlight. So the community right now is doing just a great job in developing components and participating in developing Blazor itself. This is why I think it's going to sustain, and at the end, it's not going to be just like Silverlight. Right now, I see that Blazor will boom very soon. And you can see this from 1 or 2 years. Like Blazor is very new, and you can see that a lot of developers right now is migrating. So this is a very good sign. So back for this one, if we click on Logout, Okay, we will go back to the login page, and right now we have this register button, and we have this login button. So I will go to the home page. Okay. So if I click on login, okay, great, I have been redirected to this page. And if I go to register, okay, here we go. This is our register page. And meanwhile, I'm going to go for SQL Server. I will connect to our database. Oh, sorry for that. Just to see the new created user. Okay, and here I will call this user, for example, test user. Email is test user. Oh, test user at dotnetlabs.com, and this the same password, test.123. So right now, let's click on register, loading, and wow, we have been redirected to this page. So this means the user has been created, because other than that, we are going to see an error message that says what happened. Right now, we have a new user called test user. Let's try to log in with his credentials. Okay, I've saved that so I can see them. When I click on login, okay, so we have created a new user, and as you can see, that was just in a matter of minutes. And we have right now welcome test. Yeah, that was an innovative name. If I go right now to this one, and I will check .NET Labs database. Okay, so new query, and I will select from ASP.NET users to this query. Oh, the user, am I working on the local machine? If I go to the server, oh, I'm working on my local machine. Sorry for that. I've connected to the, yeah, if you open up this one. Okay, great. Star from ASP.NET users. Okay, so yeah, this is it. I'm checking the online database while I'm working on the offline one. So here we have the first name test and the last name user. We have, this is the email, and the user just has been created successfully. So right now, if you are building any real Blazor application that basically based on JWT authentication, you can see this is the full flow of that. Right now, we are logged in. We have access for some protected content, for example. If you click logout, you will be redirected to the login page again. If you click on register, you can see that you can register. I will try to register, and the same email exists, and let's see what we will get. Okay, of course, I'm going to getting some errors here. Yeah, okay. let's try to go for login. If I click login, okay, this is working fine. If I check the API here, I'll go to controllers, authentication. We'll set a breakpoint here. And we are trying to figure out what's going to happen if we try to create a user that's already exists. Okay. This is we get the request. Cool. Yeah, so this one is not getting handled correctly. So I will set a breakpoint here. I will try to click register again. Sorry for that, yeah. Because I'm showing the data while we have to show the message. Okay, yeah, right now let's try to start again. Okay, so if we go to register here, now I'm trying to register again with a user that already exists. So this one that we have just created, test.23, click on register. Great. And I'm going to remove this endpoint. Okay, so here we go. We got this error that user is already exists. But if we try to create a new one, okay. Okay, so click register. And here we go. We have the third user right now in the system. So I think we have done a good job in this session. I hope like you enjoyed it and you understand all the part that we have implemented until now. So looks like, guys, you are so much interesting about Blazor because, and the discussion about Blazor and JavaScript. But I think, yeah, if you are talking about the debugging of the Blazor, if you are running right now .NET 5 and you create your own project, I think it's pretty simple to just go ahead and like debug the application. You can just set a breakpoint, just like what I have did right now. So you can see set a breakpoint here, and I was able to debug that very easily. And another cool feature is that, I don't know, maybe you have noticed that in Blazor, but what you can do when you make any change, there is no need to stop the application and run it again. So what you can do, yeah, this is a good thing. I don't know if you know about that, but because we are in a WebAssembly hosted application, so the server is serving the app, you can right-click on the server and open in terminal. You can write in the terminal here, or you can open the project and in the file explorer, open the CMD, and you can type .NET watch run. So if you run the project under .NET watch run, basically, right now you are able to make changes to your Blazor application, and those changes will be reflected in the real time to the browser without the need to stop the application and run it again. So let's see this in action. Right now, it's .NET watch run, just building the project. Okay, here we go. The application right now is running. So yeah, but right now we can watch that. So you see that the application right now is running, and I will go to the home page, for example. Okay, we are in the, should go to the Blazor app, like index 2. Hello, I am making changes in real time. So look at that. If I have this, once I click save, like you can see that right now, those changes will be reflected directly in the browser without the need to rerun the project. So you can see that. I like this feature. I don't know, I'm not using it so much, but I should get used for that. So look at this. We have this one without the need to stop the application and reopen it. So this one is with the .NET 5. And I think within the upcoming versions or the preview versions of the .NET 6, I think there's going to be a Blazor just getting more and more powerful throughout the features and the update that they are doing. So I hope, like, many thanks to the Microsoft community and or the developers working out there, and even the community who is working for Blazor, developing components and doing all that awesome contribution that we can see right now in GitHub that simply simplifies our life as a developers so much. So I hope you enjoyed this session and you liked it, you liked the content, and you understand how to implement an effective, efficient authentication mechanism in your Blazor WebAssembly apps using JWT. And in the next session, we can right now proceed and go ahead, start fetching the videos and the playlists, show them, implement the comments, and then push the project to the server, and we will be done 100%. So thank you so much for watching and joining for this nice session. I really enjoyed it, and it was like somehow rich in the content here and your nice discussions out there. So thanks a lot, guys. We're gonna meet again in the upcoming. Right now we are on Wednesday. Yeah, we are going to be live again in the Saturday, probably at the same time, to complete the next step of the project. I think we still need about 2 or 3 sessions at most to be done 100% and have this project available online. So thanks a lot. Now I'm going to divide this video into chapters on the YouTube. I'm putting some links at the GitHub, push the GitHub for push what the changes they have done to the GitHub, so you can check the repository out there if you want to clone the project. It has all the server side and the client side. So, and again, one more time, thanks a lot for watching and joining, and see you on Saturday. Bye-bye.